Hey guys, so for today's video I'm going to be making a card. My thank you card supply is getting dangerously low, so I figured I better start making them now before I don't have any and I need some, which is usually the norm in my situation. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get started by selecting my rectangle tool and drawing a standard size card on the front of my cutting mat. And I'm thinking I'm going to use the rhinestone tool to do some stitching. But anyways, I've selected the scale window and I've unchecked this lock aspect ratio box, and I'm going to change my card front, because that's essentially what this is, to 5.5 by 4 1/4. And when I hit enter, it applied the settings. And now I'm going to go into my library and open up a heart shape. And out of all these hearts, I only need one. So I'm going to ungroup these and just keep this one heart. And now I can delete all the rest of these. So this is going to take up the entire front of my card, and I want to use the rhinestone holes for stitching, but first I have to make these little rhinestone holes. So before I do anything else, I'm going to make sure this is centered. So I'm going to select everything, go to my align window and align center, and then align middle. And that looks pretty good. So now I can select this heart again and go to my rhinestone tool, and I'm only going to do the edge of the heart. And I'm going to do the 6 stone size. And this looks pretty much centered to me, so I'm going to leave this alone. So I'm going to go ahead and select the whole thing, right click, and group it because I'm done with this. Now if you find this 6 stone size too small, you can always select the 10, depending on how thick your floss or thread is that you're going to be using. And now I need a sentiment to go across the front. So I'm going to select my text tool, and I'm just going to have it say thanks. And the font I'm going to use is Billabong. It's one of my favorite welding fonts. So instead of searching through everything, I'm just going to stick with what I know and make this big enough to go across the front. So this is not welded. So before I set this up to go to the silhouette to cut, I'm going to select it. And down at the bottom left-hand corner, there's a weld button, but it's not available right now. So I'm just going to right click and select weld here. And now everything's ready to cut out, and I'm ready to... Here are both of the pieces that I showed on screen cut out, and I'm going to take some thick baker's twine and fill in the heart by going back and forth in a zigzag pattern so that the heart is filled. And I'm not going directly up and down, I'm kind of skipping around so that it looks a little bit messy. And once I finish filling in the heart and it looks decent enough, I'm going to cut the extra string off and tape it down on the back. Now this really is a simple card, so I'm using some glossy accents to attach my sentiment down to the front of the card, and I'm just going to let it dry before I attach it to my card base. Once the sentiment has dried on the front, I'm going to attach the panel down to the front of a standard size card using dimensional adhesive. Then as a final embellishment, I'm going to go over the die cut with a Wink of Stella pen, and you can see a little puddle down there at the bottom where it kind of spit out a bunch of the fluid at me. But anyways, then I'm going to use my corner rounder to round the corners, and that's it. Here's a look at the final product. Thanks for watching.